if we move this in front view or in z-axis, okay, if we move in front view to this point or just move in z-axis, what's gonna happen is it's gonna mess up a bit in other axes or other views. So to do this in a way that it doesn't mess up in other views or axes, it just aligns perfectly in all the axes and views, we can go down here in the header portion or header region of the 3D view, and in the transform tool we can go right here and select the normal from the transform orientation. It will change the orientation of the move tool to the normal of our geometry. So now if we move this in x-axis to this point, and move it down a bit, I don't think we need to do that. If you move it this way, you can see it aligns perfectly with other axes or in other views as well. And you can see the x-axis is pointing in this direction, or the x-axis of the normal of this geometry is perpendicular to the normal of the geometry. So let's just move the other vertex as well and align it like that. Move it down a bit. It aligns perfectly. And now one more thing we can do right here, since we are in the normal transform orientation for the move tools, we can press A to select, or if we have selected any of these vertices like that, we can press A to deselect any one of these vertices if they are selected, and then press A to select all, and then press S to scale them, and then press Z once and then Z again to change the orientation of the Z axis to normal of the geometry, and then scale them down. Sorry. This way it will be in one perfect line. Now if you keep your eyes into the header region of the 3D viewport right here, you will see if I press S for scale and then Z for Z-axis, it will tell you right here. Sorry, I cannot bring my cursor to that point or that area, but you can see it will tell you what orientation for of the axis it has chosen for the transform tools. And as we can see right here, it has chose the global z-axis, and if you press Z again, it changes it to the normal of the geometry or of the object. So now we have aligned them perfectly in a one line. Change that back to global for now. Go back into the front view and put your cursor right here in the center of this ring. It's called the edge ring, and then press Ctrl R to create a edge loop across this edge link. Now scroll your mouse up to create 2 edge loops and then press enter, or click the left mouse button to select them and then press enter again, or press any of the mouse button, left or the right. I prefer choosing right because you can accidentally move this up or down from the center. If you want to put this edge loop right in the center and by mistake you have moved it a bit up or down, you can, rather than clicking the left mouse button, you can click the right mouse button. It will deselect and put it right back in the center. So from here on, you can select any of these edge loops by Control Alt Shift and select by the right mouse button, and it will select that edge loop. Now press G twice to move it along the edge ring, like that. Let me show you. If you press G once, you can move it like this freely, but if you press G again, it will just move or slide this edge loop across the UVs of this geometry, rather than or you can say it will move the edge loop across the edge ring, if that makes any sense, like this. Okay, so going back in the front view and then pressing G twice and moving across this edge ring and pasting it right there. Now before choosing to where we should have this edge loop, let's go back into the Pure app and let's once see where exactly we need to paste our edge ring. Now if you can see from here that we have this sort of a how to say, let me just see it, if we can see it in detail. Yeah, here we can see you can see this is divided into 2 portions. The portion that is behind the front, behind this one, has actually divided into 2 portions, and then also you can see the part of it from here. And if we can get another view, you can see the backward is perfectly fine like this, but the front one has this what to say, that cutting that is bigger than the box or the holes. It is bigger than the holes that the back portion has. I don't know if that make any sense, but observing through these images, you may get an idea of what I'm saying. If you don't get any idea, let me just explain you by creating these things, or you can just bear with me and be patient, and I will demonstrate you what I mean. Now I think the loop should be Now I think the loop should be quite close to the edges. Downward bottom edge loop can be not that close to the edges, but the top should be. Let me get a clear idea of it once more. Yep, it should be right about there, and the upper edge loop or the edge of it should be right here. Now this portion of it should go a bit forward in x-axis like that. Okay. Let's put another edge loop across this edge this time, and like that. And now let's start creating areas for hole or opening. So we're gonna go into the face mode and select this face, press I for inset, and inset it or scale it a bit inward, just very slightly. Select it, and we can grab this edge loop and bring it down somewhat more. Select this one and bring it down as well. Just a little bit. I'm gonna select the upper part and bring it up, just very slightly. Matching the other parts, trying to match things with the other part of the reference or other part of the geometry. So now I'm gonna put a 2 edge loops right in the center for this gap, or for this how to say it, this intersection or something, for this bridge or something. I don't know how to say it for this part. You can see it right here. Now let's put two edge loop for this separation between these two holes. Now let's just put two edge loop for the center separation between these two holes. And I'm gonna place my mouse right in the center, and I'm gonna control R for the edge loop. Then I'm gonna scroll up the middle mouse wheel up just once. It will create two edge loops. Then I'm gonna press enter, and then I'm gonna either press enter again or click the right mouse button. So this will create two edge loops, which I can place them according to our reference, basically close to our reference, so that it kind of create this edge flow for separation. Now if you have to select a limited number of edge in a edge loop, or you can do that by selecting the first vertex in that edge loop, and then press and hold Control and select the last vertex in that edge loop by the right mouse button. I'm gonna select this edge like that, and I'm gonna stay close to the reference as much as I can, but I'm not gonna 100% follow it. And then I'm gonna place these vertices accordingly. For some reason, I don't like the color of the edge loop. Either they should be darker. Sorry, the edges in the geometry, they should be darker or something. So let's just go into the theme, and I can see this purplish. Make them a bit more saturated, which you can see off of this and save user settings. Save user settings. Now close it, and now I can clearly see that where should be my edges on this geometry. Okay, now I think that this is more matching to our reference, and from here on we will create this first cavity in this part of our model, and then there will be a second sort of a cavity that I'm about to create the edge loop or I'm about to create the topology for that right now. So select these 3 faces and go into the wireframe mode, and now I'm gonna create edge flow for the second cavity. So I'm gonna select these 3 faces, then I'm gonna press I for inset, and then I'm gonna inset it just a little bit, just a little. Now if you press T and you open this for the operating region of the 3D viewport, you can see the last operation that you have done on your mesh or whatever you are dealing with. You can see the last operation right here in a panel. So this is the attribute for our inset face function. You can open this panel up, and what we were adjusting after pressing I for inset was the thickness. We also have depth and other values to deal with, so we're gonna leave it as it is. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press Z, and I am going to go through the Vertex Select mode, and then I am going to select global from here, and I'm going to select all these edges and bring him up just a little bit more. Sorry. Now I have to see what I will be doing. This is the first edge loop, and this will be the second one. So the first one goes in like that, and I will bring, sorry for that, let me just align them with the rest. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna bring this edge loop, this part of the edge loop, or these vertices a bit up, or sorry, I'm gonna press G twice on the keyboard so I can bring them up a bit. Then I'm going to select these vertices. By the way, I did that by pressing C. It will bring a brush to select all of them, and I'm gonna bring them up a bit more. Don't want to do that too much, but let's do it as much as I can. Now bring this part a bit down by pressing G twice again. Let's not do that, and I think let's just bring it up back a bit. And what I think we should do is, first thing first, let me just show you that the thickness of this part is almost equal to the thickness of this part that is behind this front part of this thing. I don't know what it's called, but I think you can see it in, let me just see here. You can see this thickness is almost equal to this one, almost. So if you go back in Blender, we need to bring this line up a bit. I think let's just select them by brush and then bring them up by, sorry. Okay, let's just press or do it one by one. So bring this up by bring this edge loop or these edges or these vertices up by pressing the G twice on the keyboard and bring them up, and then bring this part of the edge loop up again. And I think let's just select normal and adjust the location of this thing a bit. Okay, we'll deal with that later. Let's just go back and now that this length from here to here, this thickness should be equal to thickness of this part from here to here. To do that, I think we need to let me see, to bring them okay. Let's go into the perspective view, and then from the from here choose normal. Choose normal for the transform tool, and now press S to scale it down, and then press Shift Z once and then Shift Z twice and scale it down somewhat, just to match the thickness of this part. And when you're happy, left click and select that thickness. Now I think what we need to do is, okay, let's just adjust this vertex as well. Yep. Okay, now what we need to do is try to match the upper part of upper thickness of this thing to the bottom, or yeah, but the bottom thickness. So let's just bring it up a bit again, and keep it as even as we can. And now when we are happy with the thing or the thickness, it's not quite that similar, but I think I am somewhat happy about it. So let's just bring that down a bit more, so that it just kind of start to match. Yeah, I'm happy with this one. And select this edge. If you can see, or sorry, not this one, that one. Select this edge and bring it in a bit as well by pressing G twice on the keyboard to add similar thickness in here, if you can see in the reference. And once we are happy with that, we can press C to go out of the wireframe mode and then select this vertex and delete it. And I will tell you why I did that in a minute. And go into the face mode and select these two faces and delete them. Delete the faces as well, these two faces. Now this is the interesting part. Now okay, we forgot we need to delete this face as well, so delete it right now. Now things will become interesting from here on. But what we need to do is we need to merge this vertex, or merge this edge with this part, and merge this vertex or edge with this part of the mesh. To do so, we can put some edging right here, draw some edging right here, and draw a edge ring right here. Now we can align everything accordingly to each other. And let me just align as much as I can. Okay, this doesn't align very well. Up. That's more like it. Now select this vertex and then select this vertex and press Alt M and choose Add Last. Then we can select this vertex and then select this vertex and choose, press Alt M and then say choose Add Last. Or I think the better way to do it is just first let me align this vertex to this line. I'm just imagining this line is continuing from this point to here, and wherever it meets the vertex, I need to place my vertex right there. And then select all other vertex that are behind them and align them as well by pressing G twice. Okay, now I've aligned. Now the best way to merge two vertex together, if there are many in Blender, and it's a really cool way to do it rather than other software. It's a really robust and fast method. all we have to do is select or activate snap tool and choose vertex from here. Press C, so we are in the wireframe mode, and well, there is no need to press Z, but I'm just pressing it so I can see things that are behind them, if in case I am just merging my snapping my vertex to a wrong vertex. There are none, but I'm just like out of a good habit doing it. So selecting this vertex and pressing G to go into the move tool, a free transform tool, and then snap it to this vertex. I will just bring my cursor closer to this vertex and will snap it to it. So press G to grab and then snap it to it. C to grab and snap it to it. Now from here what we can do is press A to select all and then Control V to bring the vertex menu for the mesh and then choose remove double. And if you can, as you can see, it says remove 3 vertices. So now our vertex are merged. This was the really fast way to merge our vertices. We can turn off the snap tool, and now we can go into the perspective and press Z for going out of the wireframe mode. And now from here we can, let me go into the top view real quick and see if there is any vertex that is not aligning with. Why is this so? Oh, I by mistake chose that position for it. When I was moving and checking that the vertices were merged, that time I just accidentally select or change the location of this vertex. So good thing that I went into the top view and checked if everything is aligning perfectly. See, this happens if you don't check from every different angle. Now, this is a really interesting part. All we have to do now is select all the vertices and now press E to extrude them out. Press A again to select everything, and now from here we can press 7 to go into the top view, press 5 to go into the orthographic view, and now press E to extrude them out in the z-axis of the normal of the mesh. Now I'm gonna select it here and then I'm gonna choose normal from here, and let's just see it just brings it out. Yeah, just I'm checking that the manipulator just points straight in the normal z-axis rather than going downward or upward or any weird angle. So going back in the top view and aligning this with that, and then pressing R to rotate it up just a bit, just slightly. Or okay, let's leave it right there. I think I'm happy with it. So now what we can do what we can do is create one edge loop right in the center right here and one edge loop right in the center right here. Now let's just delete these faces. Sorry. Let me just select this edge loop and right here, and delete these faces. Doing same to this one right here. And delete the faces. Select this and delete the faces right here. Now it will give us this cavity or thing that we can now. Also, we need to delete these faces as well, or delete them. Faces. Okay, let me just extrude them inward. Okay, that doesn't work. Well, interesting. Okay, we can always work around that. We don't have to. Press G here, press just G, and then press Z twice for Z axis. No, it's not working. Interesting. Press G twice for the Z axis and it's not selecting. Okay, let's just bring them down, bring them back as much as we can, and bring them real close to these. Real close, as close as you can. I think I've done a mistake.